everyone, welcome back to my channel. Imagine standing at the confluence of two continents. To your left is Europe, to your right, Asia. Beneath you, the waters of Bosporus meet the Golden Horn. You are standing on Sarajevo Point, the most strategic piece of real estate in the medieval world. Here is the Topkapi Palace. For nearly 400 years, this was not just a residence. It was the shadow of God on earth. It was the nerve center of an empire that stretched from the gates of Vienna to the sands of Arabia and the peaks of the Caucasus. Today, we will explore the history, the unique tented architecture, and the human dramas that he played out behind these high walls. Part 1. Historical Foundations. The story of Topkapi begins with a young man's ambition. In 1453, Sultan Mehmed II, known as the Conqueror, took Constantinople. He initially built a palace in the city center, but he sought a location that he provided both security and a view of his new maritime empire. Construction began around 1459, unlike the rigid, symmetrical palace of Europe. Think of the sprawling, singular blocks of Versailles or the Winter Palace. Topkapi followed the nomadic, Middle Eastern aesthetic. It is a palace of pavilions. The Ottomans descended from nomadic warriors of Central Asia. Even as they became sedentary emperors, their architecture reflected the layout of a royal-timed encampment. Instead of one giant building, they built gardens surrounded by specialized rooms. It is the organic complex that grew with every sultan, reflecting the styles of the Renaissance, the Baroque, and the Rococo, all filtered through the Ottoman lens. Part 2. The Architectural Journey. The Four Courtyards. To walk through Topkapi is to experience a procession of privacy. The further you walk, the quieter the palace becomes, and the more powerful the inhabitants. The first courtyard, the outer ward. Enter through the massive imperial gate. This was the only public area. It functioned as a city square. Here stood the Iron Church, used as an armory and the royal mint. Thousands of people, soldiers, merchants, and petitioners filled this space daily. It was noisy, busy, and vibrant. The second courtyard, the Court of the Divine. Once you pass the gate of salutation, everything changed. Silence was enforced here by law. This was the seat of government. The Imperial Council. Notice the architecture, low ceilings, and heavy grills. The Grand Vizier ran the empire here. But look closely at the wall. There's a small window with a golden grate. This was the ear of the Sultan. The Sultan could listen to any meeting without being seen. This invisible presence ensured that his ministers always felt his authority, even when he wasn't in the room. The kitchens. On the right, the palace kitchens feature distinct, elongated chimneys designed by the great architect Sinan. They housed over 800 staff who cooked for up to 5,000 people. The third courtyard, the inner palace. Passing the gate of felicity, you enter the Sultan's private world. Only the Sultan, his family, and his trusted eunuchs could enter. The audience chamber. Located directly behind the gate, so the Sultan didn't have to walk far to meet ambassadors. It is surrounded by a colonnade and features a small fountain inside. Why a fountain? To create white noise so that no one outside could eavesdrop on the Sultan's secret conversation. The Library of Ahmed III, a masterpiece of 18th century Ottoman architecture, sitting in the center of the courtyard, decorated with exquisite Islamic tiles. The fourth courtyard, the Imperial Terrace. This is the most beautiful section. It consists of marble terraces and kiosks, small, ornate buildings. The Baghdad kiosk, with its blue and white tiling and inlaid mother of pearl, marks the height of 17th century aesthetics. From here, the Sultan could look out over the city he owned, isolated in a garden of tulips and roses. Part 3. The Harem, the Golden Cage. We must address the most misunderstood part of Topkapi, the harem, derived from Arabic harem, meaning forbidden. It was not a place of wild debauchery, but a strictly regulated domestic space. Architecturally, it is a labyrinth of 400 rooms, featuring the hall of the emperor, where the Sultan relaxed with his family. The harem was a school for women, but it was also a place of high-stakes politics. The well-led Sultan, Mother Queen, was often the true power behind the throne, directing the emperor's diplomacy from these tiled corridors. Part 4. A Legend of Luck, the Spoonmaker's Diamond. Every palace needs a legend. The most famous at Topkapi concerns the Spoonmaker's Diamond, the 86th current jewel in the treasury. Legend says that in 1699, a poor man found a shining stone in a treasure heap outside the city walls. He took it to a spoonmaker, who said it was just glass, offered him 3 wooden spoons for it. The spoonman sold it to a jeweler for 10 silver coins. Eventually, the Sultan's Grand Vizier heard of this extraordinary glass and brought it to the palace. When the royal laboratories cut it, they discovered one of the largest diamonds in existence. It serves as a metaphor for Topkapi itself, a place where something found in the dust of history was polished into the brightest jewel of an empire. Last part, conclusion. The Living Museum. Topkapi Palace ceased to be a royal residence in 1856, but it never lost its soul. It is a place where the architecture tells the story of a transition from nomadic roots to global dominance. As you walk its grounds, you are not just seeing buildings, you are seeing the physical manifestation of the Ottoman dream. Thank you for joining me to explore the Topkapi Palace. If you like, please share and subscribe. See you next episode.